to the Not Superheroes Just Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and come back generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I am Sean Laurie, and I am joined by one of the most athletic, injured guys I know, with Deon, man, one of the coolest people I know as well, though, man. Mo Val's very own, as he would say. Um, but how you doing, my guy?
Wow. Solid, man. I'm good. How you living?
Man, I'm good. Having some technical difficulties, but other than that, I'm good, man. I'm glad to have you on. I know you be so busy, man, with the family, working, wearing all these different hats all the time. You know, providing as the amazing father you are, man. So, but what I like to do a icebreaker. So, um, I think I was gonna ask you about a sport one, but I'm about to switch it up on you. So, if you had to pick, if you had to pick your, let me think, who's a team that you hate for? I know you're an Eagles fan, so who you hate? The Cowboys?
You already know.
Okay, all right. So, would you rather your son be a role player, right? A role player for your Eagles, right? Like a marginal, like he does like kick coverage, right? Or would you rather him be the star quarterback for the Cowboys? And that means you're gonna have to change everything. Like, let's just say hypothetically, you're gonna have to with that comes with you have to get rid of your fan base for Philadelphia. Which one would you? So no more. It's done. Like, matter of fact, you gotta burn all your Eagle stuff. Like, it's done.
I'm not gonna deny my son that quarterback bag, man.
Okay.
I'd have to do it. I'd have
All
to.
right.
I'd have to take that sacrifice, and I'd be. Feel me in the back of my head. If I ever got dementia, they just hear me talking about how I was an Eagles fan 50 years ago.
Be tears in your eyes as you see all the Eagles stuff just burning in the pit.
Yeah, man. 60 years from now, my grandkids wouldn't even be knowing what I'm talking about. What you
Man,
talking about? You was an Eagles fan. You always wore Cowboys everything. Every picture you in Cowboys stuff, Grandpa.
you like, it wasn't my choice. That's funny, man. But nah, bro. Well, today, I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things, man. Is patience, right? And then obviously just actually kind of goes hand in hand, but being able to minister towards our family, right? And so I wanted to ask you, bro, as a father, with your beautiful family and things like that, man. What would you say is probably like the biggest trigger, I guess, for you when it comes to patience? Because I can at least speak for myself, where I'm not always the most patient person. I try to be, of course, but especially with 4 kids, each child needs different things. And what happens, at least for me, a lot of times is I'm trying to help one child, and the other child wants my attention, and then the other child's complaining because they're hungry, and the other child's mad because whatever, right? So, and then wifey wants my attention as well. So it's like all these different things where I'm like, man, I'm only one person. Can y'all chill out? Can y'all relax? So that's still something I'm working on. But what is probably like a trigger for you, bro, when it comes to patience?
Yeah, I would say
Oh
that for
shoot.
me is in this season it's definitely been my son grabbing my phone. It's been an epidemic. I don't know what's going on with him lately. But he actually locked me out my phone for like an hour. I never even seen that. I literally said I was locked out for an hour.
That's crazy.
You know what's messed up, bro? I'm on a Duolingo streak. I just reached 100 days today, working on Spanish, Espanol.
That was
And
Kate.
I needed to finish my streak, bro. I had to stay up till 11:50 to hurry up and do a lesson to not ruin my streak, bro. And I did that.
Hey man, hey, that's definitely take patience for sure.
Yeah, I was hot.
Yeah, that's. I definitely would be. I can understand. I'd be upset too. Now with that, I mean, well, are you getting better with Spanish at least? You getting a little
I
more
am.
fluid?
I
Okay,
am.
all right,
They
okay,
just talk so fast. It's
yeah,
so hard for me to just.
that's true. Getting a
If
little
they
bite.
write it down, I know everything they're saying.
I know about like 10 words, so you're doing better than me, brother. Doing better than me. Um, so then in that moment, then do you think it's more so he just sees like, hey, I see dad on the phone, so I want to mimic what dad's doing, or do you think it's one of those things where he's like, man, I just want dad's attention, so I'm gonna take this phone away, so he's gonna have to pay attention to me or play with me or whatever it is.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of that of just I want to do what dad's doing or I want dad's attention, so I'm going to take his phone and make sure he sees that I took his phone. So like chase me. You know what I mean? Like he knows I don't want him to have it.
Yeah.
Or if I leave it unlocked, like if I have my phone unlocked near me, like he is about to come and grab it. Most
Mm.
times I don't even catch it. Most times it's my wife like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh snap!"
Like, put that away, man. Yeah, that's funny, man. Well, that makes sense though, right? Where, like you said, especially because he's what 3 years old, right? So
Yeah,
he's definitely like he's at that stage right now where he wants to do what daddy's doing. He wants to mimic you. You know, you a superhero, right? So he definitely wants to be like you in every aspect. Um, so with that, then is it times where you're like, okay, I gotta put my phone down or I gotta, make sure I give him this attention because I know that's what he needs right now, especially because I'm sure by the time you get off of work or whatever the case is, I don't know what time he goes to bed, but I'm sure he's not up all night. So you gotta kind of balance that, right? Balance that where you going to work, but then still trying to hang out with him.
yeah. I have just such a guilty conscience when it comes
Mm.
to being a dad, and I don't know if this is just being the first time dad that I have this super guilty conscience about everything. But like, as soon as he do anything, I'm like, dang, I mean, I'm not paying enough attention.
Mm.
Like so anything, I'm like, I'm not doing enough.
I'm failing. I'm failing.
Ah, he's pleading for my attention.
That's true. Hey, I know. I now also too. I guess because, like you said, he wants your attention. Do you also try to be conscious with wifey as well? Because I know for me, at times, I realize at times I'll start putting too much attention to the kids, and then I'll forget about my lady at times too. Like, do you ever deal with that, or is it more so like you're pretty good on making sure she's good, but just making sure now, you give little man your focus.
Yeah, I think that obviously there's times where I'm going too far one way or the other, but I think for the most part we keep a healthy balance. I think that our issue is that we talk too much, so then you know we be staying up so late after he after he go to bed. I be tired in the morning, like dang, like we just stayed up talking and or just hanging out. So
Yeah.
we definitely try to make sure we get our time in. That's why we be trying to make him go to sleep on time to help him. Help him. The more routine he is, the better it helps us to be routine about our time of connecting and things like that. So
Yeah.
you know
That's
the
dope,
better
bro.
we are about that. On that aspect with him, the more it does help us on the other end.
Mm. No, I like that. I like that. And then, so with that, like you say, you're conscious of those things. How was it for you? Because you was serving in the church and things like that. Because that's how we actually met y'all. We both went to a church called Relevant back in the day. Um, and I know for me serving and things like that, where I got to a point where honestly, I was giving everyone the best version of me when I was serving, but giving like my family this, I guess like the secondhand version of me because I'd be so drained trying to constantly pour, and it got to the point where I was thinking that's how it's supposed to be, right? Where it's like, well, I'm serving in church, I'm in the church, I'm doing this for God, and honestly, it came to a point where I started thinking like, wait, am I doing this for God or am I doing this because I felt pressure because I was saying yes to everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, am I more so just feeling pressure because hey, you gotta serve, which is cool, nothing's wrong with serving, for those that's in the church or want to serve in the church and things like that. But I had to really be conscious of making sure my family came first. So did you ever struggle with that, bro? And if so, how did you kind of maneuver through that?
Yeah, I definitely would say that that I struggle with that as well. You just get immersed in it, and you want to, you have that heart to serve, so you just want to do so much, And then for me, it was a very unique perspective because me and my wife were always serving like hand in hand, like we were always, right next to each other in regards to our serving. It was crazy. It was like right when we met and started dating, we realized after we already had started connecting, we just showed up that Sunday. Like we had been talking all throughout that week, getting to know each other, and then that Sunday we actually show up and realize we're serving together. Like so,
Mm,
that's actually how that happened, and then that began the years of us serving together in that capacity. And so we were just always kind of together. And so we
mm,
had the unique issue of, kind of both of us being too deep in it at the same time. You know what I mean? So that was kind of what we experienced. And so, in regards to anything as far as neglecting, I feel like we just started neglecting. We both kind of neglected each other in the sense of, or probably I'm sure it was more so me of just feeling like we're together all the time, so we're spending time together. And it's like that's not how it works. Like we were there working together, we were there serving, giving our time, and our energy to other people next to each other. That's not us actually speaking, that's not us spending quality time together.
yeah. No, that's real, bro. And like you said too, because obviously there's nothing wrong, serving and being part of the church and things like that. But in a sense, it's like another job too, right? So, um, you doing like I can just see it from your lady's perspective where it's like, yeah, we're together, but we're still working.
Yeah.
It's not like we just hanging out watching a movie or chilling at the park together, or yeah, we chilling at the park, but especially because you was in the youth ministry, right? It's like we at the park, but we also got 10 other kids with us at the park.
Yeah.
Like it's not just us, right? So where do we get that alone time like that? And then when you guys probably did get the alone time, it's probably like, man, we ready to crash out because we just literally spent all day with
Yeah.
everyone else. So
100%.
that's a lot, bro. Because I remember I used to see y'all like, dang, y'all putting in them hours, man, like for real. I was like, sheesh. So shout out to y'all for sure for doing that, man. And so I wanted to ask you then, bro, like what is with you, you know, understanding that like, okay, I got to make sure I'm actually ministering my family more so than everyone else, and make sure I am being the best version of myself for my family. What does that look like for you, bro? Like, what is I guess the foundations or the key things that you instill in your family as you're ministering to them to make sure they're good before you're trying to give yourself to everyone else.
Yeah. Really, I feel like it starts with time. So like even with my son, like I have, I committed to, giving him an hour of my day,
Mm,
after work. And, for some people out there listening, that might be like, you're committing an hour, like you deadbeat. And I'm like, but like it actually is like kind of hard,
yeah,
at times. Like I go to work, I'm getting home at, 5:30, 6 o'clock. He's only going to be awake a couple of hours.
yeah,
You know, got a whole, plethora of other things that go on after work, coaching and, you know, everything else in the world that occurs, events or, even, work, more work,
yeah.
all these things that happen. And so I'm just trying to commit to giving him that hour uh, of my time. And even with that being just an hour a day, I miss like more than I would want to,
Mm,
just because there will be times where I don't even see him almost in 2 days just because of how the timeline synced up. I'm gone before he wakes up, and he was asleep by the time I got home.
Yeah.
then he's not going to see me until 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. the next day. You know what I mean? And so there's just situations like that. So I try to commit. Any of those days where I am going to be home, like I'm about to give him that full hour, of attention,
Yeah.
and I try to make it that first hour when I get home
Mm,
because
that's
I want
smart.
to just make sure that I'm giving him, like I want him to see, I want to match his excitement. Like as excited as he is to see me, I want to be that excited to see him. And I want him to feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you, like you said, because right, like you're coaching and working, you're making sure the wifey's good. You want to make sure you're the best dad you can be. All those different things. Like how do you, that's not including bills that needs to be paid. That's not including the coworker that was acting dumb. That's not including the person that cut you off. That's not all these different things, right? Where you go home, it's like you have almost like it feels like the world on your shoulders, but then you got to come home and be present, be dad, be husband, be the leader of the household, right? So how do you make sure, bro, that you just kind of stay? Uh, I guess like you separate the two, right? You make sure you don't take all those things in the outside world and take it home with you. So how do you kind of do that?
Yeah. Really, I just feel like that's just been something that's grown with my faith, honestly, and
Mm,
then just with my discipline of just obeying, and I feel like the more and more that commit to God and just understand patience and how I'm supposed to love my family, love my wife, love my son, love my children, like I feel like that. The more that I understand that, the more that I'm reading about that, the more that I'm in tune with that, just the more successful I am at it,
mm,
of giving them the time that they deserve. Like, it was funny. I was actually I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and uh, we were talking about his marriage, and I was just talking to him saying, it's kind of funny how some of us view marriage sometimes, because it's like, particularly like us as Christians or believers, we view marriage in a way of like, here's what Scripture says about marriage, and so that's the only thing that applies to marriage and family, is only this other subset of scripture, and that's what applies to them. And it's like, no, realistically, it's like everything else still applies as well. And then that part of how to treat your wife is, that added extra. So it's not like the way you're supposed to treat your neighbor, like you're supposed to treat your neighbor this well, but that doesn't apply to your wife.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, like come on, like it all applies,
Yeah.
and so the more, and so as I realized that, like, I can't treat my neighbor, or, the people at work or whomever, in this way, and not apply that same principle,
Mm,
to my family,
yeah.
and so looking at it that way has helped, kind of reframe my mindset of how to kind of compartmentalize in that way of, turning it off, and being able to shut off the stressful day at the door, when I get home, and still being, you know excited. Hey, dad's home.
Yeah. 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 That's dope, man. I like that, and yeah, like you said too, because obviously when it comes to scripture, I mean that's a whole nother conversation. But people will definitely manipulate and try to make the scripture fit whatever it is they want for them. So I definitely understand what you're saying. Like, no, it's the same all throughout. It doesn't change, right? You can't pick and choose which part you want to follow. Um, but I would say too, what stands out too is actually it's been my word. I said it for New Year's. What my word is, and it's been applying this year, and it's just crazy that it keeps resurfacing even with this conversation, everything you're saying, the word, because I don't do like, oh, new year, I'm a I don't know, gain 50 pounds and get buff. That's not gonna happen. Look at my body, it's not happening. But but I do
Get your
work.
protein, skinny boys. You feel
Hey,
me?
hey man, we out here. But no, but I do words, right? So I do words. So my word has been intentional, right? That, and literally it's crazy how just recently, the last couple months, that word has been resurfacing like crazy. I'm like, dang, okay, God. And so just you even saying that, bro, like it popped up again. Like everything you're trying to do is being intentional, right? With your
Yeah.
family, serving them, being intentional with your son. Hey, I'm gonna give him an hour. And then obviously when I can give him more, I'm definitely gonna give him more, but I have to make sure I get that hour in. Okay, when I come home, I'm intentional to not take on Susan pissing me off at work. I'm about to come home and ignore all that, right? Oh, being intentional, making sure I spend time with the missus. And even though, like you say, you be tired, but I'm going to stay up and talk to her till midnight just because I don't get to talk to her and just see how she's doing, make sure she
Yeah.
feels loved. So, like, you're being intentional with all those things. And even though with your patients, right? Like, you understand that too. You're working on that, but you're being intentional with it. Like, dang, okay, I understand that at times my meter goes from 100 to 2 really quick just because my son took my phone or just because I was like, dang, like, okay, I thought you was going to make spaghetti today. You didn't make spaghetti? Ah, oh, dang. Like, I was really looking forward to that, right? Like, whatever the case is. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out, bro. It's like, that's a word I adopted, but obviously that's a word that, like, you just saying it, that's a word that really just stood out to me.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. Like being intentional about it. Like I remember one time, like I got, I don't even know what it was over, but I got upset with my son, and I reacted harshly, or like upset with him, and my wife told me, and she said, like when he does something, like you do something funny, and like, and you talk about it, and and you brush it off, and then she was like, but other times, like you react like this when he's not listening, and she was like, why can't you just try doing the funny thing every time? And I was like, man, get out of here, making sense. Like, I guess, and so I kind of just adopted that. Like, dang, like you're right. Like it's really my patience that's dictating if I'm reacting harshly, to him not listening, not
Yeah,
really, you know what I mean? So it's like he's three,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
he not
yeah.
gonna listen.
Yeah, he's not, man. That's why I'm big on. I say this all the time. Like, we can control our emotions, right? So you can choose to be happy. You can choose to be mad. It's what you choose to do. Like at the end of the day, okay, that person cut you off. You can be mad about it, or you can be like, "Dang, I don't know what they're going through, but all right, that's on them." You know what I'm saying? So like what you saying is true. Where you're choosing. Like I could be upset because boy, why did you just upload that video of me dancing on Facebook? Why? Right? But you could just laugh about it, be like, man, this is crazy. Okay, I gotta be like, I'm a little annoyed with it, but I'm gonna brush it off because at the end of the day, at least it wasn't a video of me twerking, or something like that, right? So like, man, I don't want to get clown me twerking. At least it was me just doing the running man or something like that. So, just different things like that, man. So I like that too, where you say like, man, okay, even though you didn't want to admit it, you like, dang, wifey's right. Like, yeah, why can't I just kind of brush that off? It wasn't that deep for me to be getting all upset with it. So that's dope, bro. That's
Yeah.
dope, man. So I wanted to ask you then, man, as we get ready to close down and stuff like that, like what like through this whole journey, what you're learning about yourself and like you said, being intentional. What is something because you're not the only one. There's a bunch of us that's struggling when it comes to patience. Um, what is something that you found out or that you realize, I should say, that has helped you or is helping you now as you're working through this? Because you're still, I know you say you're still working through this, but what is some method or something you realize that has been helping you slowly get better when it comes to being patient with the family?
Yeah. It was crazy. Really, it was a sermon I heard that had really helped me.
Mm,
I was listening to a sermon by this pastor Tim Keller, and he was talking about the sermon was talking about like impatience, and he was kind of saying like he broke it down, and he was basically saying like impatience is really like a form of idolatry,
mm,
to where it's like you're literally saying like your feelings, you know should dictate the universe,
Mm,
essentially.
yeah.
Like that's how grandiose, impatience actually is. Like
Yeah.
impatient that like, essentially like we look at impatience with people, but it's like really all impatience boils down to like we're always being impatient with God, actually. We're always saying like, you know, ultimately like the creator of the universe, you're the one who has not made whatever it is I want fulfilled. You know, and so looking at it that way, I'm like, man, like I need to chill.
Mm,
Like that's crazy. Like I never really thought of it that way
yeah. It's good.
of like how much impatience, like how much I'm lifting myself up when I'm being impatient.
Mm,
And
that's good.
so like trying to just have a good understanding of that, man. I feel like
Yeah.
that's really helped me. And then I just feel like even with that, as being a believer, it's like what's what's helped me has been the more I'm reading, the more that I'm in my word, or the more that I'm worshiping, or listen to that kind of music, you know all of that sort of thing helps me a lot in regards to you know um, just my patience or anything like that.
I like that, bro. Nah, I definitely like that. Hope y'all definitely, taking notes, man, with Deon dropping some gems for sure, which I definitely appreciate, bro. And I definitely appreciate your time too, bro. Because like you said, I know your schedule be crazy. Shoot, you probably just got off of work a little while ago, so the fact that you out here just man, being on this platform with me, bro, sharing some gems, sharing your story, man, I definitely appreciate it. I don't take it for granted.
Appreciate you having
I'm
me.
always rooting for you, man. I'm still a little on your head a little bit just because at this point I was expecting you to already have a stand up comedy special, because Dion's one of the most funniest people, man. So I've been low key trying to every now and then I try to remind him like, hey, bro, when you gonna do that? We gonna do this? We gonna do the comedy stuff? So I'm still waiting for that, brother.
You know what? My wife always challenging me. That's a theme here. But she had challenged me because I did a comedy show a few months back,
Okay.
um, and she had challenged me. She was like, like I just challenge you to try to like not do any of your old material. Like I would like to see you just come up with a whole new set. And I was like, all right, I'll take on that challenge. You know, I can do that. Jokes used to be a little crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. How it go?
Oh, I can't leave Sean without saying that I make a better sweet potato pie than you, my brother.
Oh no, no.
Sorry. I'm
We not
sorry. I'm
disrespectful.
sorry. I had to put it on wax.
No, no,
I
no.
had to put it on
Yeah,
wax. I'm
y'all, he's
sorry.
lying. He's
I'm
lying.
sorry.
Matter
I'm
of fact,
sorry. It's the
his
facts.
sweet potato pie. Look, some of y'all don't even know what that is, right? So I'll just put it like this: his sweet potato pie tastes like pumpkin pie. That's all you need to know.
Nah,
So
don't play with me. Don't play
that's
with
all
me.
you need to know.
Don't play with me like
That's
that, brother.
all
That's
y'all need to
disrespectful.
know.
That's
Okay.
disrespectful.
All right. So that's all y'all need to know. Thanksgiving time, y'all know who to hit up when it comes to these pies. I'm slaying them. But, no, man. But no, I definitely appreciate you, bro. And the family, of course, beautiful family. Just love seeing your family grow. Honestly, man, like it's pretty cool just seeing how y'all stories been continue to progress. Man, it's been a beautiful thing. Um, but yeah, man. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all subscribe, tell a friend. I've been loving the support, man. I appreciate all you guys, and like always. You don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See y'all in the next one, man.